We have Dr. Arnold back with us on the show today. Thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you very much, Diane. Thank you for having me again on the show.
So we're here to talk about infertility. What is infertility?
Infertility is one of the topics, within my hospital duties. A lot of these young, couples, they come ask me because, say, they've been married for 3 years, they've been married for 4 years, and then gone up to 6, 7 years, and 10 years, no kids. The pressure from the parents that when are we going to see our boo-boos? And so, it's in between these times that they come and tell us and disturb a little bit on this. Infertility is basically, there are two types. We say two basically categorizing them two. The first one is called a primary infertility, where they married, no kids at all. Since whenever they get married, many years later, no kids, and still they have no kids. That's primary infertility. The secondary infertility is they have one kid at some point, and then for a long time they don't have kids, so many years, and they're struggling to have another second born. So that's secondary infertility. They were fertile in the initial stage, and they become infertile.
So what causes infertility? In both those?
In Papua New Guinea, there are different environments or countries or society where causes will be different. There's different variation in causes. In Papua New Guinea, what we find is infection. Infection on the side of the male or infection on the side of the female.
So when you say infection, is it to do with STIs?
More often it's STI. So it's sexual
transmitted infections,
transmitted diseases like syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, all these things that causes these fragile tubes,
And is it because it's not treated, it's not treated right away, and then that's why it leads to infertility, or?
Yes. We have this custom of things, women moving around, guys moving around, and then they finally decide to settle down. So they're carrying these bags from this side, and then when they come to meet this in marriage, they want to start a family, but they have infection. They carry on infection with them.
Yeah.
So before their marriage, situation onset, there was the damages like tubes in female, and the cords or spermatic cords in guys have been infected already. So the road has been distorted, or the tube has been disturbed or distorted. So the sperm trying to flow doesn't do much, and the ovary, want to come down to meet the sperm in the tube, the woman's tube, fallopian tube. It doesn't happen because it's such a long journey. You need a smooth, ride. Yeah. But because of infection, these things got disturbed or got sore, and so that they don't.
So how can we prevent this, or what are what can you take to cure?
We advocate for be careful with STI. If you are not married and having sexual partners, sexual activity around, use condom. Condom is best, prevent pregnancy and prevent STD. That's the best one. So we advocate for these things.
And also to get checked up, right? People need to go in and get checked up if they have an STI.
Yes. Yeah. But even if during the marriage, after marriage, and you still have a problem, you still need to go check into, especially they call the surgery, where they have a proper check on the tubes on the woman, and the guys to check for all these infections and to make sure that you don't have any problems or blockages in the tubes.
What's the surgery or the procedure that you said if they check the tubes?
In the woman, they do what they call the lip and dye, where they just put in the dye to see whether it goes through and then comes to the other side. So the gene is patent or it's opened and enough for the sperm to swim up and the egg to come down. They meet in the fallopian tube to be fertilized. And the guys in the similar, but there are some different tests. And the guys, they also do what they call a sperm count to see how much sperm. There must be some certain quantity for fertilization to take place.
Yeah.
So number of sperm, so they will do tests.
And that procedure can be done in Papua New Guinea?
We do it in Papua New Guinea, at Papua General Hospital, in private setups, Paradise Hospital, and PIH. They also can do check for infertilities.
Great, okay, so you would encourage our viewers to head down to...
Definitely, I will encourage them. But some of them are very high technical because they have to do genetic tests for it.
And what advice would you give to our viewers?
The best advice is, if you're serious to have children, don't get into sexual activity before marriages. And when you do married and you are having difficulty, proper to go and check.
Yep. So to get checked up on STIs, if you haven't got checked up, or to visit the Port Moresby General Hospital to check whether you're fertile or not.
Yes, that's the best thing to do, so that you know that you are, at least you can potentially become a mom or a dad.
Great. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks so much for joining me again for Afternoon Tea.
Thank you very much, Diane. Thank you very much.